A Day on the Focus with Anne. Hello, history buffs and casual listeners alike. Today is January 17th, and boy, do we have a jam-packed timeline for you. Buckle up, because we're going on a wild ride through the ages. First off, let's rewind way back to 38 BC. Poor Octavian, year of wine. He's ditching his wife Scribonia to marry Livia Drusilla. Sounds like a pretty dramatic soap opera moment, even by Roman standards. Apparently this marital shuffle was all part of some political maneuvering to keep the peace. Talk about complicated relationships. Fast forward a few centuries to 1362. We're talking major flooding, the St. Marcellus's flood. At least 25,000 people lost their lives on the North Sea coast. That's a truly devastating natural disaster. Definitely a day to remember, and to maybe check the weather forecast. Then we jump to 1562, and things get a little more tolerant, relatively speaking, for the 16th century. France grants religious freedom to the Huguenots with the Edict of Saint-Germain. It's a small step for religious tolerance, but a giant leap for, well, less religious persecution in France at that time at least. And speaking of giant leaps, of a different kind, let's not forget Captain James Cook in 1773. He and his crew became the first people to sail south of the Antarctic Circle. Brr! I can only imagine how cold it must have been. Seriously, heroes. On January 17, 1920, Prohibition begins in the U.S. Oh, the speakeasies, the bathtub gin, the general lawlessness. It was quite a party, or rather, a whole lot of parties. Now, a little bit of World War II. In 1944, the Allies launched their first attempt to take Monte Cassino. A lot of parch. It's going to take 4 months and a lot of casualties. Not a fun time for anyone involved. Also in 1945, the evacuation of Auschwitz begins as the Red Army advances. A truly dark day, but one we must remember. And to end our historical tour, 1966. The Palomares incident. 3 70-kiloton nuclear bombs dropped near a Spanish town. Yikes! Expound. Thankfully, only 7 airmen died in the incident itself. It was a close call, though. Definitely not a situation you want to experience. And tile. Now, for a little bit of creative fiction based on today's events. Imagine Livia Drusilla, in the year 38 BC, complaining about Octavian's late nights at the Senate to a friend. Her friend, casually, mentions that there's been some talk of a strange fog causing catastrophic flooding centuries later. Livia scoffs. 1,000 years is far away. Then, Livia's friend mentions a chilling prophecy, linking those flooding events to the instability caused by Octavian's messy divorce, causing a ripple effect through history, leading to the chaos of Prohibition, and even influencing a faulty plane mechanism causing bombs to fall in the 20th century. Livia, intrigued and scared by the idea of her actions causing unexpected disasters down the timeline, starts to question her choice. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. Join us tomorrow for another trip through history on A Day on the Focus.